I hope you ladies like it.
we'll be like, Susan's making fun of my voice, my sick voice. Hi, we be live. I'm trying to yell. I can't. We be live. Hi, everyone. Oh my god.
Okay, please be easy on your voice. Our poor,
It's getting worse.
poor boy
hi,
is sick
guys.
today.
It got worse right before the show. Hi, guys. We be live. Please make sure you like the stream. Sorry, I'm sick, so this is my voice for today. I hope you guys could tolerate that. Soha is saying the idea is great. Zaid is saying hello from Jordan. So, guys, this is a new segment. Me and Susie are going to be covering 5 different news items from around the world. Which countries are we covering today?
Ooh, we're covering India, Malaysia, Yemen, Iran, and another last one in India. It's gonna be so fun today. We're gonna get juicy. I have some juicy opinions. Yeah.
And which religions are gonna be covering? Hinduism, Islam?
Yeah, no, just Hinduism and Islam.
Hinduism and Islam. Okay, cool. And today the stories are not tragic, so we don't have to worry about sad news today.
Oh, there's one that's not great. There's one that's not great, but no one will. Actually, there's 2 that are not great. It's mostly good news.
Mostly good news. Okay, cool.
You don't have to talk so loud. You can,
but but even my not loud voice is kind of like this. But people are telling us where they're watching us from. Like Drusilla is watching from Norway, and Space Leah is watching from Sweden. Hammers is watching from Minnesota. Where else? Yeah. So guys, also when you're telling us in the live chat, tell us in the live chat where you're watching from, but also tell us in the live chat that you have liked the stream. Okay. I don't understand why so many people watch the stream without liking the stream. Like, it's really easy. Okay, guys, it takes 1 second and it really helps our channel grow. So please make sure you like the stream, and also say in the live chat that you liked it, so that the people who have not liked the stream see your comments and get embarrassed and ashamed of why they're watching the stream without contributing even a single like. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything, so please go ahead and do that. Especially because we probably are going to get demonetized.
Mendez is from Algeria. We haven't had anyone from Algeria in a long time. That's so cool.
What the hell? We got demonetized. What did we say? We didn't even talk about anything. Why did we get demonetized? Oh my god!
And it's gone.
And
it's gone.
And it's gone. And it's gone. What the hell, though? We didn't even talk about any top. We just mentioned the name of Islam. Can we not even say Islam and Hinduism and a couple of countries? What the hell? Okay, I'm gonna submit a review for this. Guys, if you want to send us super chats, that would be very helpful because we have been demonetized. And also make sure now, it's very important now for you to like the stream, because when we get demonetized, we also get deprioritized. That means less people end up seeing the stream. So it's very important for you to like the stream so that we can fight against that. Thank you so much.
I don't know if I made this joke before, but last time I made the joke of, people say that Allah is the greatest of deceivers, but the YouTube algorithm is the greatest of gaslighters.
Gaslight.
Because we never know why we are demonetized.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about any topics at all. Anyways, guys, please guess in the live chat, why did we get demonetized? Was it because we said hi to you guys? Was it because we mentioned Hinduism or Islam? Was it because we said some of the news are going to be tragic? Like, what was it? Was it the title? Maybe it was the title.
I don't know. Oh, but we just got a super chat from Winning Ospreys just saying good morning. Good morning to you too, my friend. And thank you for supporting the show when
thank you.
YouTube wants to take it away from us.
All right, let's get into the news. Hold on. Let me bring up the first news. Yes.
This is going to be juicy. I'm excited.
Juicy news. Is it clappable?
I think so.
Okay. First news.
This Indian state banned Muslim polygamy and didn't stop there. I'm going to give you a teaser of what this means and what this is all about. The state of Uttarakhand implemented the Uniform Civil Code. And I am in full support. Okay, I'll explain. Let's get into this. The northern Indian state of Uttarakhand has taken a bold step by implementing a Uniform Civil Code, or UCC as it's known, by setting the precedent as the first Indian state to pass a UCC since the country gained independence in 1947. This comprehensive legislation seeks to harmonize civil laws across all religious communities, addressing marriage, divorce, inheritance, and adoption with a unified approach. Notably, the UCC outlaws several practices, including polygamy and triple talaq, which is a Muslim practice allowing instant divorce by a husband declaring talaq 3 times. And I'll get into that in a second. It also prohibits nikah halala, a complex ritual requiring a divorced woman to marry another man and then consummate that marriage and then get divorced again before she can remarry her first husband. And it also outlaws idat, which is a period of waiting that is mandated for Muslim women after a divorce or widowhood before she can get remarried again. The legislation establishes a common marriage age and introduces equal rights for men and women in divorce and property matters. Critics, however, decry the law as intrusive, especially for its regulations on live-in relationships, now demanding registration with the government under threat of punishment. Quote, the code allows a third party to file a complaint against a couple who failed to register their relationship, highlighting the controversial nature of this mandate, igniting debates over the intrusion into personal freedoms versus the pursuit of uniform civil rights. Okay, let's get into this for people who have no idea what is going on and why this is significant. So prepare yourself for an info dump, because I was researching this a lot yesterday. Because, okay, for those who are not aware, in India, for certain elements of your life, and this usually includes marriage, this includes divorce, this includes inheritance, sometimes it includes adoption, sometimes it includes usually land rights are excluded. It depends on the kind of personal law. So in kind of these areas of life, which used to be kind of ruled by customary law, in India, they have something called personal laws, and the personal laws are different for different religions in the country. So you will have a different personal law if you are a Hindu, except what's important to note is that the Hindu personal law is actually a negative classification, meaning the Hindu personal law applies to anyone that is not Muslim, anyone that is not Zoroastrian, anyone that is not Jewish, or anyone that is not Christian. So it's a negative classification. Anyone that you're not from any of those categories, you're shoved under the branch of Hindu personal law. So that's Sikhs, Jains, Hindus, etc. Next, you have Christian personal law, you have Muslim personal law, Jewish, and Zoroastrian. All of these types of people have their own distinct laws, their own distinct rights under these laws. And there's a historical context for this, and we can talk about that a little bit if we want. But basically what that means is that if you live in different communities, you essentially have completely different rights and privileges. And there has been a huge push by the BJP, the ruling party of India, Hindu Nationalist Party. There's been a push for decades to bring into effect a uniform civil code, which is basically the idea that we get rid of these personal laws and we have one unifying civil code that everyone fits under. And I personally, there's a lot of criticism, and we'll get into it, but I think that pushing for a uniform civil code is a fantastic thing. I think it's a fantastic thing. I think that, so we can get into more details, but in general, this is something that I support. And there are people especially leftists or whatever, they're crying over this. And I think it is so freaking fake, because It is not perfect. Let me be clear. It is not perfect, but I think that this is a major step towards getting religion out of the law. It's not perfect, but it is a huge step forward getting religion out of the law in India. Because, so for example, this is most controversial in the realm of getting rid of Muslim personal law. And getting rid of the Muslim personal law is important because that meant that there were elements of Sharia that are actually implemented and observed within Indian personal law for Muslims. Like, and this is actually a relic of it is a relic of the British Raj, because the Sharia Act was actually originally passed under the British Raj. And then it was the Muslim League that basically had a pan-India Muslim identity project where they wanted to make the Muslim identity more important than the Indian national identity. It was very successful in pushing forward this personal law in the 1930s. Beforehand, Muslims were more likely to follow local customs, including even worshiping other local like gods and spirits in regional identities, until there was this project to create this like nationalized Muslim identity. I don't know. Anyways, so this is a huge, very controversial thing. And when it comes to the polygamy angle, one thing that's important to note is that my understanding is that it's actually a very small minority of Muslims that engage in polygamy in India, let alone this specific state, which is, by the Himalayas. Second, I saw a poll from 2013 that said that over 90% of Indians don't think that there should be Muslim polygamy, because out of all the different communities and all the different personal laws, it is only under Muslim personal law that you are allowed to have polygamy. For every other religious identity, it is illegal, first of all. And so there are lots of these elements within all these different flavors of personal law where things that are illegal for one group are legal for another group. And it has always confused the hell out of me from many perspectives. And one of the perspectives is like, just from the idea of you just had the chance of being born into some random community, and now you have a completely different set of rights available to you because of some accident of birth. Either privileges, or you have things that are not allowed to you, but they would be allowed to someone else. And that's just absurd to me. And so one of the things that I have seen, so there are a lot of people that hate this, that are freaking out about this for a couple of different reasons. And we'll get to the reason of the live-in partnerships and the live-in relationships in a second, because that's kind of like one of my biggest contentions with this UCC, or how they're doing it in Uttarakhand. But one of the contentions that I have seen is that this is against India's diversity. And any like so-called like lefty progressive person that is genuinely saying that needs to get their head checked. Because personally, I do not understand how disparity of treatment under the law is a positive form of diversity. How in the world is differential treatment under the law on the basis of religion a positive expression of diversity? It's crazy to me. It's crazy making. Yeah, Darko was saying equality under the law should be one of the main goals. Exactly. So when I was reading, so I like to read a lot of different sources. I was reading an Al Jazeera piece about this. And they're like, oh, well, critics say that, this is a question of valuing uniformity over equity. Okay. Oh, D, I'm going to get into the child marriage in a second. Just you wait. Okay, here's the thing. I'm very familiar with the language and philosophy of these diversity, equity, and inclusion people. I know this ideology very well. I understand it very well. Can anyone explain to me how this is a matter of equity? Equity. Can anyone explain to me how it is equitable to have a gray area in the law where all other girls are not allowed to be married until the age of 18, but the Supreme Court still has to figure out if Muslim girls are allowed to be married after puberty? Married after the age of 15. How is that equity? How is that equity when the Muslim personal law has no established minimum for the age of marriage? We're like, oh, it's the battle of uniformity over equity. What are you talking about? So many of these things on the books are so discriminatory towards women. And there are communists that are literally against this because they're like, oh, this is the patriarchal Hindutva.
I'm At what age can you get married for Muslims in India?
Okay. My understanding, this is very complicated, and this is actually a gray area in Indian law. So I do not want anyone to think that I am an authority on this, right? So there is a federal law which has the age of marriage for women be 18, the age of marriage for men be 21. However, under personal law, Muslim personal law specifically, there is no minimum set age for the age of marriage. It's the age of puberty. However, if a child is married below the age of 15, she has rights to divorce. So there's this gray zone between the ages of 15 to 18. And in fact, there's cases in the Supreme Court to actually spell out this gray zone and decide essentially which law takes primacy over the other. That's my understanding. People can correct me if I'm wrong. Sid is saying 21 now too. That's not the case. That's not my understanding, at least in this state. So I cannot understand these arguments against it from the perspective of diversity, because once again, I do not understand how disparity and differential treatment under the law is diversity. Come on.
It is. It actually makes complete sense, right? So you have a couple of, I will give you an example, right? You have 100 people, okay? 100 men, okay? And you kick them all in the ball hard, right? And if all of them can complain to the police, that would not be diversified, right? But if only 50 of them would be considered a crime and they could complain to the police, but the other 50, when you kick them in the ball, you say, for you, this is legal. What happened to you is completely legal, and you cannot complain to the police. Now you have diversity, right? You have diversity in how you apply the law. So apparently the left also wants that kind of diversity, right? This is how it works.
Lovely. Because yeah, that sounds like an ideal. This sounds like a liberal ideal.
Yes. All for the sake of diversity.
So here's some major criticisms.
Oh, yeah, apartheid. Hey, that is apartheid. Isn't that apartheid? That's kind of apartheid.
I think that's a horrible argument. I'm not going to get into that.
No, that's but this is apartheid, isn't it? Like if you're a Hindu woman in India, right? You have more rights now against men abusing you than a Muslim woman. So this is technically but this different levels of citizenship. You have more legal rights in marriage if you're not a Muslim. If you're not a Muslim woman.
You mean for rights to divorce is what you mean?
For all sorts of rights, like if you're a child, if you're under personal marriage laws for a Muslim woman is horrible, right? So
yeah, no, I just want you to be specific in what you're saying, because like, for example, the divorce laws, I think because of this did become substantially more equal. Like it's not even a joke. Like it's ridiculous.
I know, but I'm saying I'm supporting this unification of the law. I'm saying without it, technically India is apartheid against Muslim women. So that's why you should make the argument for making the law equal for everyone is that without equal law for everyone, you technically have different levels of citizenship. Like if you have two like different laws for different citizens, some of them are going to be more fair than other ones, and that means that you're, as a citizen, you have better laws for some people and worse laws for some other people. That makes it two-tier citizenship, and that's basically apartheid. So this is what the BJP is doing here is an anti-apartheid measure.
I think I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that's like a step too far, like a little bit ridiculous argument to make, but I do like the effort to push for a singular law and equal treatment underneath the law. Okay, but here's some major contentions and reasons why this is flawed. And the reason why this is flawed is because, for example, tribal communities in Uttarakhand are exempted from this. So people are saying if you're really pushing towards uniformity, then the tribal communities should also be included. They should not be exempted. I think that's a fair criticism. Another criticism that people have is that there's a new provision under the law that people are finding very problematic. And this is actually one area that I do genuinely find a little bit problematic. So there is a provision in the law that says that if you have a live-in, so cohabitation, unmarried relationship, and you live together, then you have to go register with the government. And my understanding is, because I had a hard time figuring out what the intention with this provision is. My understanding is that the intention behind this is that if that couple has a child out of wedlock, that child has similar rights to inheritance, similar rights as a child that was from a marriage. However, people are freaking out about this provision because they're saying if I have to go register my unmarried relationship, there's a high chance that I will experience harassment. There's a high chance that my family could find me, and that this is going to particularly punish intercaste and interfaith relationships. That it's like they're asking for trouble. They're asking for a problem. And so they have concerns that under the Indian Constitution, like I have rights to privacy, and this is a major violation of my privacy. So I think that is a more genuine concern. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that part is genuine concern. But overall, the whole push is, I mean, that's just one part of it that seems problematic. But overall, I support the push, except this specific part of it.
Yeah,
I think other people in the but the whole thing like people who are criticizing that part, they should also mention if they were being honest, they have to show their support for the whole thing in general.
Yeah, I think it's in general, like there are issues with this, but I think this is a giant step forward. If you are a genuinely progressive person, you will support a step to remove religious law from the law of the state. That is, this is a push towards establishing like equal rights for all citizens. Why there are like so-called lefty people freaking out about this is absolute absurdity to me. And there are people, that are like, oh, you're forcing me to practice a religion that is not my religion, blah, blah, blah. Suck it up. You're part of a nation. You need to observe the laws of this nation.
And it's not religious laws anyways. What are you talking about? These are secular laws. I mean, Hindus don't get to have laws that is based on Hinduism. So you're just being equal. You don't. I mean, the laws are not based on Hinduism, are they?
That's not exactly my understanding, but the idea is that everyone is supposed to be subject to the same law. Again, there are still flaws with this because there's some exemptions.
These are not Hindu laws, though. These are secular laws.
Well, the UCC, yeah. But then there are people that are like, oh, no, they're just trying to like basically shove people into Hindu law, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think that's a fair assumption. But no, they're even saying that being forced to follow secular law is against their religion, because their religion involves rights to inheritance, involves rights of religion, etc., etc. I'm like, okay, so then just come out and say that you're an Islamist and you want Islam to be the law. Like, just you're an Islamist. Like,
yeah, that doesn't how it work, right? I could have a religion that requires me to steal money, and that's such a dumb argument. Like, okay, you have your laws against stealing. My religion says stealing is okay. Now what? Like, well, fuck off. Like, I don't care, right? Like, my religion says that I could marry children. Like, okay, good to hear. You go to jail here if you do that. Sorry, I don't know why people think that's a good argument. Well, my religion says I don't care. I don't care. Like, why should people care?
Yeah. I don't know. And like, I'm not going to pretend that India is like this perfect secular nation. There's obviously a huge amount of issues that are still occurring. And I think there are things within the UCC that still need to be improved. But I think this is a big step in the right direction. Like, and people in the live chat are disagreeing with me, but my understanding is that the marriage age for women, maybe it was just this UCC, maybe it was not federal, was 18 for women and then 21 for men. Like, that would be an example where I think there should be improvement, where I'm like, it should be the same age for everyone. Yeah. Because that's what I was reading in all the that was like everything that I was reading in the articles yesterday.
Yeah, but that's a minor issue. Like, when you have Muslims marrying children, having that difference between men and women when it comes to both of them being above 18 is, okay, you could worry about that later. Worry about the Muslims in your country that are marrying children. That is your priority there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the world is not united over this. Like, how we're still like, oh, should we give in to Muslims having their own personal law? Like, well, let's check their personal law. Like, holy crap, no. Like, that's an obvious no. Like, why is this a discussion? Like, like, have you seen their laws? Have you seen their personal laws? Oh, by the way, the most important part that, I don't know, you mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but we need to focus on this, because a lot of people know that some ridiculous Islamic personal family laws, because it involves child marriage, and people know about that. But the part that you said at the beginning of the show, we need to highlight that a bit more. Within Islamic law, if you divorce your wife and you change your mind and you want to marry her again, you have to find a man to fuck her before you can marry her again. I'm not making this up. This is Islam, okay? So if you divorce her and you want to remarry her, she has to have intercourse with another man before she can marry you again. This is genuinely Islamic law. I think people won't believe this. I'm not making this
behind that, because they have to also consummate it.
Yeah, she has to marry and consummate it and divorce that man, and then do the
adat. And then so it's like, this is like a process of a year minimum.
I don't know how long it takes, but you imagine you wanting to love your wife, and you're like, okay, let's get back together again, and you have to go look for a man. It's like, you imagine only in Islam, they're like, can you please come fuck my ex-wife so I can marry her, please? Like, imagine loving somebody and wanting to be with her and going and asking for men to come and fuck her. This is like nothing. Like, we won't come up with these things other than religion. Like, only religion can make you do stuff like this. Like, do we see anything like this anywhere else?
Mufti Armin, what is the logic? Because with the practice of idat, like I don't agree, but I see the logic. But with this, I do not see the logic.
The logic is Allahu Alam. How dare you ask for logic? You fool. You fool! You don't understand Islam. You just submit. You don't you use your in Islam. You use your logic to figure out that Islam is true, and then once you know Islam is true, you submit. You don't ask for logic after that. That's how it works. But
oh my goodness,
there are people with that job. Did you know that? There are people that there are men.
This has to be an industry.
Oh yeah, there are men that it's their job to come and fuck your ex-wife, like marry her, fuck her, and then divorce her so you could marry her again. That is their profession. You pay them to do this for you. You pay people to come fuck your ex-wife so you could marry her again. That's their job.
This sounds like a recipe for spreading HIV.
No.
This has to spread HIV.
No, I have. Dear ma'am, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. This is why you pay me, so you don't go ask random people off the streets. Okay? I'll fuck her real good. I'll make sure it's really she doesn't. It's so weird. Like how, like imagine a religion that is so obsessed with not you having with sexual morality is now requiring you to make sure you go look for a man to come and have sex with your ex-wife. This is the same religion that executes you for having, I don't know, adultery or sex out of marriage. Stones you to death.
Oh my God.
But
I forgot about all this. Oh my God.
And guys, and now people are complaining like, how dare you take these laws away? Diversity. We want diversity. Let's keep these laws. Okay, sure. No. Like, I'm glad that many leftists prove how they make it so easy for us to show how ridiculous they are. If you're fighting for these laws to stay within your country, then you're not worth having a conversation with anymore. Like, you're just too ridiculous. Like, these are the laws that you're asking to remain on your country's, legal system. You're a joke. You're a joke. Get off. You should be removed from the conversation.
That's like the most complicated way to enact a cuckold fetish ever. That's the most complicated. Wait, this is a sidebar, but I have a question. We were talking the other day, and I can't remember exactly what it was, and I was really trying to remember, Armin. You were talking about some sort of Shia practice, and you told me about a new Shia practice that was so crazy that I hadn't heard of before, and I feel like it was something to do with semen. Like, you were talking about something recently on the Persian show.
Oh, no, I cannot talk about that on this show. That would get us. It wasn't Shia.
We're already demonetized.
No, that got us. That got that stream 18 plus classification. So we got more beyond demonetization. If I talk about that, like we will get it's called age. We will get age restricted if I talk.
Yeah. Wait, but I can't remember what it was. Can you give me a hint?
It was about detached penises and what to do with them if you insert them into a vagina, and how that you're supposed to wash. It's about washing requirements after you insert a detached penis into your vagina, whether it's from a human or an animal or stuff like that. So I get it. But this just shows how perfect and complete Islam is. It just teaches you, because no other religion will tell you what to do with detached penises. No other religion will tell you that, but Islam does, and this just shows how perfect Islam is. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. This just yeah, we had a stream on that, guys. If you want to go check it out. What was the name of the stream?
But that was on the Persian show, right?
No, we did an English one as well. But
that's right.
It's actually, this is just one example. There's a lot of other things that we talked about. It was unbelievably ridiculous things that Islam had an opinion on. And it was just upset with washing. It wasn't asking you, why are you doing with all these detached penises? It was just saying that make sure you wash this hole and that hole. And when do you have to wash and when you don't have to wash? How much of it does it have to get inserted for you to have to wash? But it wasn't giving you any rulings about not detaching penises. It was just telling you what to do. How much of it does it need to get in before you have to wash?
I have so many questions. Like, was there an epidemic of people cutting off penises? Like, how does this even come into your awareness as something you need to talk about?
It's a complete religion. So it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a common thing. Okay, a perfect and complete religion is a religion that will tell you what to do in every situation, even if it's not common. Yeah, I need to do another stream about that because I have more questions. I've been like reviewing that ever since, and I have even more questions. But yeah. It actually gets a lot worse. I'm really afraid of telling you guys how much worse it gets, but because we're on YouTube. But we should move on before we get in trouble. We got so many super chats.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just so mind-blowing. Okay, well, thank you everyone for the super chats. Let's dig into them. Mithras Revisited gifted 5 Atheist Republic's memberships. Thank you, sir. If you were gifted a membership by Mithras, please drop our new emojis in the live chat. Secular Sakai gave a super sticker. Hi, Sakai. It's good to see you again. Trells gave 20 Danish krona, saying a preemptive case of Indian mommy issues. I'm not exactly sure what this is referring to in this context. Animation gave us a super chat. Thank you, saying Indian secularism equals we can't interfere in religion. It's weird here. It's kind of the reverse of laïcité. It's kind of the reverse of laïcité. Erican, thank you for the super chat, saying apartheid equals apartness / separate but equal arrangements. So this isn't apartheid. Yeah, again, I disagree as well. Along that line, Mindspan Wellness also gave a super chat saying apartheid is a system of state-sponsored systemic racial segregation and discrimination designed to maintain dominance by one racial group, originally enforced in South Africa from 1948 to the 1990s. Yeah, I also disagree with that classification.
Okay, guys, we don't have a specific definition for apartheid. Different people define it differently. So, but okay. But thank you.
Czar, Jace the Shepherd, I gave a currency that I don't know the origin of. 14 Czar. Saying support from a Christian. Like P.S. Stop the Satan stuff. Well, thank you for the super chat and the support.
South Africa.
Oh, cool. But we will not stop the Satan stuff. It's too much fun. Okay. Hail Satan, hail yourself. GJ gave a super chat. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
Armin just spelled out one of the main reasons for AR's existence: to fight any and all laws given to different rights based on creed, faith, and gender. Exactamundo.
Thank you.
And we got another South African super chat from Bijo saying, don't forget to say triple talaq to divorce your wife. So my understanding is that there were already in 2018, there was a federal ruling that brought down the validity of triple talaq instant divorce. So for those who don't know, in Islam, traditional Islamic jurisprudence, for a man to divorce his wife, all he has to do is say talaq 3 times. And in some schools of thought, you say it 3 times all at once. In some schools of thought, you say it 3 times over a period of months. And if you cohabitate with your wife, like in between one of the talaqs, like it's now invalid, blah, blah, blah. So it depends on the school of thought. But the idea is that if you say 3 talaqs, talaq, you're instantly divorced. And meanwhile, for a woman to get divorced, it's not that easy. You have to go through a board of Islamic scholars. Am I correct?
Well, you have to go to the courts, and they will have to see how he has wronged you. Is he not doing his duties? And they will decide for you. By the way, I do want to defend my apartheid claim. Just one more sentence. Nobody complains when people say in Iran there is gender-based apartheid. Nobody comes and says like, well, actually, that's not the real definition of apartheid. People like understand that, okay, we're just extending the definition just to make a point here. And people accept that. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I just wanted to quickly.
The argument for gender apartheid is way more solid because there's a state system of separateness. Having different personal laws is not the same thing necessarily.
I'm just saying, being in India, if you're a Muslim woman, you don't get the same legal rights than other women get, right? So you are. Just because I'm Muslim, now I am Islamic law applies to me, which is an inferior law compared to other women. So I think like that's a little bit of close to being a gender apartheid.
Okay, I understand your argument better now. So thank you.
Okay.
So my understanding is, anyways, that the
By the way, people are saying I just got divorced. You just divorced me. People are saying
so the Indian in 2018 around they made instant triple talaq like invalid under the law. So in India, it's not actually valid for you to have it be instantly true that you're divorced. You have to go through more of a process. But ADI brings that up because he's saying men in emotional outrage said triple talaq divorce and then were forced to do the process.
Yes, that's actually a good point.
Someone
People like imagine having a fight with your wife, and getting emotional, like talaq, and like, oh no, I made a mistake. Like no backsies. Now you have to go find a man to fuck your wife. Or like, no, I was just outraged. I was like, I don't know, like I didn't mean to do that. Like no backsies. You said triple talaq. If you want to have a family with this woman, that you lived for 10 years and just overnight you just said something that you regret right now, the only way to undo that is to find a man that will fuck your wife. Fuck your wife, and then divorce her. And that's the only way to get her back legally to be a family again.
That is
3 words. Yeah.
That's such an instance of like you played yourself. You're like, I'm going to hurt your feelings. Joke's on you. I'm going to divorce you. Talaq. And then you're like, oh, I played myself.
Yeah.
You're going to need a lot of marriage counseling to get yourself out of this one. James Sendoku became a member. Thank you for becoming a member, James, and supporting the channel. Welcome to Satan's Minions. Erican gave us a super chat saying, Armin, that consummate to remarry previous rule exists to discourage divorces in the first place, so men don't divorce women for no reason. But when you make it as easy as saying 3 words and in a relationship,
that's not the reason.
Hard.
No, that's not the reason. This is the technicality. Okay, so it's because the Quran and because Islam tells you that there's the concept of the edda, right? It's basically like if you look at how Islam talks about this and what you need to do to remarry, it didn't consider the scenario. But if you put everything together, you realize that you have to, for her to be able to remarry, she needs to do this. So technically, this would be the only way. So it doesn't actually have any purpose. It's just within the legal code of Sharia, this part was not really, thought through, and this was the only loophole left within the system for somebody to be able to remarry their husband. So it didn't actually have a purpose. It's just a technicality that it was just left over from all the other rules that are there. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh. Like it. Huh. Okay.
So if I say that you have to like, go through the process of it, like before you remarry with, from another man or something, and I don't tell you what to do if the previous husband was if you want to marry your previous husband, then the only thing that would be left is for you to go marry somebody. Like, this is just putting everything together and realizing like, holy crap, that's the only thing that I could do now to get remarried. Anyways, it's too much. It's too technical, legal, Islamic legal
Shami
stuff.
is saying, I'm curious as to the origins of this tradition. Who wanted whose wife/ex-wife as persona for them to make this rule up at the time of its origin?
No, this is just a byproduct.
It's kind of like how the rulings about adoptions like not being essentially like real children, all because Muhammad wanted Ali's wife.
The people are looking for a purpose. This had no purpose. This is just a technical conclusion of all the other things that the Quran says that you're supposed to do. This would be the conclusion for what to do in such a situation. It's just a byproduct.
What if there was a dude who legitimately had a cuckold fetish, and so he's constantly triple talaqing his wife, getting her to have sex with another man, and then marrying her, and then triple talaqing her again?
Like, oopsie, I guess we now have to find somebody to come have sex with you. Oopsie.
I triple talaqed you again. Don't worry, babe. I have to be there when he does it to make sure that you actually consummate so I can marry you again. I just have to verify. No big deil.
I don't think you get to be there, unfortunately, for him.
No, but I mean, he has to verify.
No, he...
Gasian American gave a super chat. Thank you, Gasian, saying Draupadi had 5 husbands. This is a Hindu goddess. We should have 4 women and 5 men polycules. Well, I do not want to know what the legal ramifications in terms of a will would be in a situation like that. GJ gave a super chat saying, do some Islamic nations not equal the minimum marriage age with the age of responsibility, 9 for girls, 15 for boys, except when parents agree? Do some Islamic nations not equal?
It was like that.
I don't understand the question. What do you mean not equal? Not equal the minimum age.
He's saying. Yes. Let me tell you. Yeah, it was like this before in Iran. They changed the legal age now for marriage, but before in Iran, it was 9 for girls and 15 for boys.
Yeah.
It was before like that.
But technically, you could get married earlier, but not consummated until that age.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Theoretically, right?
I don't know.
Maybe not in Iran, but in general, wouldn't that theoretically be valid?
I don't. Oh yes, Muhammad married Aisha at 6.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
Ankur gave 200 rupees. No comment. Thank you, Ankur. Gasian is saying, as an ex-Taoist, I thought our urine fixation was weird. Okay, Gasian, please tell me about the Taoist urine fixation. I didn't know about this.
Later.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What does that mean?
I knew Taoism was obsessed with going with the flow. I just didn't know what flow they were referring to.
I just dropped my stuff.
Okay.
I didn't know they took it literally.
Oh, you disconnected your camera.
Oh my gosh. And Benny is asking, how do we find these streams, Armin? Speaking of streams, do you remember what was the episode where you were talking about the disembodied phalluses? I think it was a stream with Anna.
Yes. Let me check.
Okay, you check. I'll answer the rest of the super chats. GJ is saying from Netherlands native, apartheid is Dutch separatist. Wait, do you mean like that's actually, it actually comes from Dutch as a word? If so, I did not know that. Martha, etymology. Oh, you're right. Oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know that. Well, thank you for teaching me something, GJ. He also sent a super chat saying, in a similar vein, Islamic men with less than 4 wives just have an ultra brief marriage with a working girl, quote unquote, consummate triple talaq and business done. My understanding is this is more of a Shia practice. The temporary marriage is more of a Shia practice. Armin, am I wrong or not? So, guys, for those who don't understand what this means is essentially instead of having, prostitution, essentially, what you have is a system where you have temporary marriages with people, and then it's just done when the deed is done. I know that's a thing in Iran, but is it only a Shia thing, or is it also another sex?
No, it's a Shia thing, and Sunnis hate this. Many Sunnis hate Shias for this. So in Shia Islam, you could pay a woman that you're not married to have sex with her, as long as you agree beforehand the certain amount of money that you're supposed to give her, and how many hours you're going to be with her, how many hours or days or whatever the period of time, and basically it's Islamic prostitution, right? And then you say an Arabic thing, and then you are technically now it's called sira, right? So you could, other than your wives, you could also go pay people to have sex with outside of your marriage, Islamically.
Oh, wow.
It's called sira. Yes.
What if you're like, I don't know, on a date with someone, maybe not a date, but you're like talking to someone and you're like, oh, have you ever been divorced before? And they're like, about 150 times. Parsa gave super chat. Thank you, Parsa, saying, brother, Bia, Shiraz, Azizam, we'll eat some fastenjoon. Can I come to Shiraz and eat some fastenjoon? It's one of my favorites. Well, or are you only talking to Armin? That's not fair.
I think you can go, and I can. Recently, a prostitute went to Iran and came back without any problem. So because she was not an Iranian citizen, she had no problem. But I think you probably can go to Iran, but I can't.
I still don't think it's a good idea. But
by the way, I did find the stream. Okay, it was called, the stream was called, What is Anal Jihad?
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. You continue.
Okay. So guys, the stream that you're looking for, that I discuss all these topics, is called What is Anal Jihad and Is it Islamic? It's a very good stream. Go check it out. And at the very end of the stream, I discuss all of these things that I just mentioned to you guys, all these weird laws. But at the beginning of the stream, we talk about the concept of anal jihad, which is also interesting. By the way, guess in the live chat, what is anal jihad? And I'm like, it's not a joke. It's actually about anal sex. All right, let me read the super chat. Susie left me with this voice. So, brother Bia Shiraz Azizam will eat some fasinja. By the way, I'm half Shirazi, Parsa. And thank you for the super chat. Erkin is saying self-worshipping gods. LOL. What? Self-worshipping gods. Okay. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. And then Jace the shepherd is saying, well, I can't become a member because you'll say welcome to Satan's minions. Also, what do you all think about AP and David Wood streams? Oh, I like him. AP, if I had more time, I would watch AP and David Wood's streams more often, but they're very long. I wish they were shorter, but they're fun, and I wish I had more time to watch them. But so you're not becoming a member because of the satanic names of our membership? What is it's just they're just joke. Why are you taking them so seriously? It's fine. Like, it's just a joke. We don't believe in satanic stuff, but I know there are other ways that you could become. I don't know. I'll ask Susie. Guys, let us know in the comment section after the stream is over if you like the satanic theme of our membership names, or if you would prefer if we change them. Let's ask other people, because we're a republic, so let's ask the opinion of our community. GJ is saying, I saw the practice of flash marriage. Hold on, let me bring this. Flash marriage, working girl consumption on a National Geographic documentary about super rich Arabs, Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain. Oh, really? Interesting. Flash marriage, working girl. Really? In Dubai, Bahrain, that should not be allowed in Sunni Islam, because that's Sunni Islamic countries. They shouldn't allow that. This is something that happens in Iran, especially in religious cities like Mashhad. They have that as well. Like, a lot of Shia Muslims travel to Iran, for example, from Iraq to religious cities for these Islamic prostitutes. And this makes a lot of Iranians very angry. The fact that if foreigners come into Iran and use this Islamic loophole to have sex with Iranian women and then leave, it actually makes like a lot of people, Iranian men, hate the government because this is allowed. And a lot of Sunnis really hate Shias for this practice. But I didn't know Sunnis have something similar, because Sunnis really look down upon this, because they say that there's nothing within the Islam that should be allowing this. But again, Shias and Sunnis have different sources of hadith. Susie, come back. Susie, where's Susie? Susie's still not here. Okay, let me check the next news. What is the next news? Guys, the next news is in Malaysia. And it's very surprising, because we had one anti-Sharia law news in India, and that was to be expected. But the next one is an anti-Sharia law based in Malaysia. I don't know what this news is about, but Malaysia having something, making a major push against Sharia law, it is surprising to me. Again, I don't know how much longer Susie is going to be good. Armin, please answer. Answer what question? Let me see. I don't see your question. Let me answer. Okay, here. Soha is saying, is it to punish the husband for not taking talaq seriously? No, it was just a technicality. Okay, Susie's back. Thank you, please.
Sorry about that. I had a chronic pain incident.
Ooh, are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm fine.
You're okay? Okay.
I went to go take care of myself. Thank you.
Okay. Aw. Okay.
Our live chat makes me laugh so much.
All right. Can we clap for the next news?
Wait, this bothers me. I mean, Ronek is on watching us on Twitch. Guys, by the way, go watch us on Twitch, because you can use our emojis, and for some reason the emojis show up on Twitch but not on YouTube. How lame is that?
Yeah. It does show up on YouTube, but when we highlight it, it doesn't show up on the screen for some reason.
We're having a struggle session today. I'm having chronic pain. Armin is just drinking cough syrup out of the bottle.
Yeah. Wait, are you not supposed to drink it out of the bottle?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the dosage on the back. Okay, we got a few more super chats, and then let's go to the next story, because it is really interesting.
Okay.
GJ is saying not only Iran allows nothing but does everything.
I don't know what
I think means. I understand what you're saying. So it's saying like in Iran they like allow nothing but at the same time do everything that they're like not supposed to do. And it's not only Iran that does that. And Bijou, thank you for the South African money, saying we should have a multiple choice question asking which of these jihads is fake. Love jihad, immigration jihad, anal jihad, and gay jihad. No, you also forgot spit jihad, land jihad. What are the other kinds of jihad I know of? These are half of these are Hindu conspiracies, by the way, guys. They definitely have spit jihad, land jihad. There was
Lower
COVID
your camera.
jihad.
The super chat is covering your face.
So, no, I just need to sit up. I need to fix my posture. Right. So let us go to the next news. This is very, very interesting. We can clap.
Clappable? Okay.
Yes.
Next news.
This huge blow to Sharia law in Malaysia caused a legal earthquake. This is very interesting. Okay. Malaysia's highest court made a groundbreaking ruling on February 9th, declaring 16 Islamic laws in the state of Kelantan unconstitutional in a move that has sent shockwaves through the country's legal and religious communities. This decision, notably on laws related to sodomy, incest, gambling, and others, underscores a significant legal boundary between state-enacted Sharia law and the federal legislative powers. Because for those who are not familiar, in Malaysia, they have Islamic law that applies to Muslim citizens that runs alongside secular law. Chief Justice Tengku Maimum Tuan Mat emphasized that, quote, the essence of those provisions are matters under the federal list, which only Parliament has the power to make, highlighting the jurisdictional overreach of the state's Sharia code, criminal code. The ruling not only challenges the legislative competence of the Kelantan state government, governed by the Islamist PAS party, but also sets a precedent that may influence the interpretation and enforcement of Sharia law across Malaysia. Amidst fears of undermining the position of Islam in Malaysia in tight security due to protests, the court maintained that the judgment was a matter of legislative power rather than a challenge to Islam's role in the nation, indicating an attempt to balance religious law with federal authority. Okay, so let me break down what's happening here. So in one specific province or state called Kelantan, which is kind of perceived to be like the heart or origin of the Malay Muslim community, there is a party that has ruled the state since the 1990s. They are called PAS. They're an Islamist party. They are an opposition party to the broader government, and the PAS currently rules 4 of Malaysia's, I think, 13 states. And in this state, the PAS passed 18 like Sharia laws, and a lot of them had to do, like PS, for example, really wanted to push for hudud laws. So, Armin, can you quickly explain what hudud laws are for people?
It's just Islamic limitations. It's just Islamic, like the punishments and limitations on what you can do and the punishments associated with it.
But for example, many of them include things like the corporal punishment. They include like the whipping. They include the execution.
Right.
Like it's under hudud law that atheists are executed.
Yeah. Also, if like so 2 girls are found kissing each other, they're gonna get whipped or something. Like so, you know, the common Islamic laws that we're familiar with.
So this state government passed 18 laws, and that had to do with many like Sharia implications and implementations. And basically what happened was that the Supreme Court overturned 16 of these 18 Sharia laws. Here's the catch. People are freaking out about this in Malaysia, and it's become heavily politicized with different, there was one, I can't remember his role within the government, but there was this one dude who was saying that this is a black day for Islam in Malaysia. This is a black day for Sharia law, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I love those words, a black day for Sharia law. Lovely. Sounds like a wonderful Friday. But here's the thing. Their outrage is a bit overblown. or they are using this for their political advantage of saying, like Islam is under threat and trying to use this to bolster their support. So here's the thing. This overturning happened not because there is necessarily a specific issue with these laws. These laws were overturned as a matter of maintaining balances of power. So basically, these laws were overturned because the state governments were implementing laws on things that they did not have the constitutional authority to do.
They don't even have a problem with the laws. Their laws
they don't.
these are
that's
okay.
Exactly the thing. They don't even necessarily have a problem with the laws. And the mother and daughter team that brought forward this case that ultimately overturned these laws literally said, this is for all of us. This is for everyone. This is not about being against Islam. This is about maintaining order under the law and the sanctity of our Constitution. So that's the thing. It's not even an issue with these laws per se. It's an issue of, is this happening under the correct balance of power?
Okay, so Malaysia is still fucked, basically, based on what you're telling me. They're still going Islamic.
Yes. So, well, here's the thing. So there are people freaking out about this, saying that we are now losing Islam from Malaysia, blah, blah, blah. And that's not necessarily the case. However, this kind of ruling could set precedents for other states that have incorrectly implemented these kinds of laws that should be exclusively under the purview of the federal government, but have instead been done at the state level. If there are other states who have implemented similar kind of laws beyond their jurisdiction, then this might set the precedent that they could be
much like the U.S. This is like the concept. So we have more Islamic states within Malaysia and less Islamic states, right? And they are saying states' rights, right? This is like in the U.S. where the conservative states in the United States, they're like the federal government is less conservative than some of these states, and these more local states are trying to have more state rights, because if they have more state rights relative to the federal government, they will be able to be more conservative. This is very much like, a lot of the people from the US should be familiar with these arguments, no?
Yeah, so people are coming forward and they're trying to calm people down. They're like, this is not against Islam, guys. The Islam is fine. The Islam is fine. We're fine. We're still Islamic. Guys, shh, calm your head. We're still Islamic, okay? We're still Islamic. We're just you just overstepped. You just overstepped. We're not letting you overstep.
We will find other ways to beat lesbians and execute atheists. Okay, you just did it wrong, right? We are also anti. It's not just you that is anti-LGBT and Murtads. Okay, by the way, they don't execute Murtads in Malaysia. No, but they want to, and the Aceh state they want to, but they can't.
Aceh is in Indonesia.
Sorry. Which states in Malaysia are the most conservative ones? I don't know.
Well, this state, Kelantan is one of them, for sure.
Kelantan. Okay. So, yeah, they do want to. You know how I know they want to?
Oh, I do know, Armin, but why don't you explain?
Because there was a call out for my beheading in Malaysia. I don't know if people know about Atheist Republic's history with Malaysia. Atheist Republic was in fight with the government of Malaysia. We had the deputy minister in Malaysia coming out and saying in the news that they need to go and hunt down the members of Atheist Republic in Kuala Lumpur. And this got so bad at some point that it was even brought up in the United Nations Security Council. Do you guys know this about our history? Atheist Republic's members in Kuala Lumpur are the reason why atheism was first ever mentioned in the United Nations Security Council as a thing, and the rights of atheists. So this was a long time ago. Yeah. So yeah, because there was a call out for my beheading in Malaysia, I know there are a lot of people in Malaysia that do want to execute martyrs. Yeah, people don't.
They almost wanted to ban Facebook because from the entire country because they knew our Atheist Republic community was organizing on Facebook.
Yeah, we have video footage of it. No, we had the footage of it inside the parliament. One person was asking one parliament member, like, can we just, because of Atheist Republic and our Facebook group within Kuala Lumpur, they were wondering if they can ban Facebook in Malaysia because of our Facebook group. This was a topic of discussion.
Got it down. Got it down.
Guys, we have a huge history of being in battle with different governments. Like Indian governments and Malaysian governments are the main two governments that have
Pakistan,
came after
a little bit.
Pakistan, yeah.
Pakistan. Yeah, Sid is saying, why do you have fights everywhere? You know, the fights find us a lot of the times.
Yeah. We have been in Supreme Court. We have been mentioned in Supreme Courts and local courts, but we have been police reports filed against us, and we have had deputy ministers trying to hunt down our members, and we have been in United Nations Security Council. I think we have we trouble monkeys, as you say sometimes. Yeah.
Yes, we are trouble monkeys. We have quite the track record and resume.
Yeah. All right.
Let's go to the next story, but this is not very good, to be honest. No one died yet, but it could happen.
Oh crap. Okay. So no clapping. Huh? Clapping?
I don't think so.
Okay. Next news.
Yemeni Houthis sentence 13 men to death for homosexuality. In a stark demonstration of the Houthi-controlled judiciary's harsh stance on homosexuality, a court in the Yemeni province of Ib sentenced 13 men to public execution on charges related to homosexuality, with another 35 receiving prison sentences for similar accusations. This punitive action occurs amidst the tumultuous backdrop of ongoing conflict involving the Houthis, who are supported by the Islamic Republic of Iran, and their aggressive operations in the Red Sea. Niku Jafarnia, a Yemen researcher for Human Rights Watch, highlighted the gravity of the situation, stating, quote, "The Houthis are ramping up their abuses at home while the world is busy watching their attacks in the Red Sea." This sentencing of these 13 men underscores the severe human rights challenges in Houthi-controlled areas, reflecting broader concerns about the treatment of LGBT individuals in conflict zones and under extremist rules. So, Armin, for someone who is maybe a little bit under a rock and doesn't understand what the Houthis have been up to lately, can you give a very quick summary that provides a little context before we move forward?
Oh, are you talking about the Houthis while having a major severe case of poverty and child malnutrition and disease spreading in their own country, deciding to go and fight more wars with 20 plus countries around the world by attacking their ships because of the war in Gaza? I mean, by the way, people they act like they're supporting Palestinians in Gaza while their citizens are actually suffering more. So the Houthis are picking up a fight by attacking civilian ships, and blocking international trade around the world in support, as they claim, for Palestinians and against the Israelis, while the average Yemeni is actually having it worse than the average Palestinian. And what they're doing is bringing up more misery and suffering to their own Palestinians. So what they're doing is not only not helping Palestinians in Gaza, is making the situation for an average Yemeni that is worse off than an average Palestinians, even worse. And also they're also making life difficult mostly for poor people around the world, including many people from Islamic countries. So they're trying to attack Israel by attacking random civilian ships, and they're mostly attacking ships that have nothing to do with Israel. But the main people who are suffering are poor people around the world, which are watching their food prices increase, and also their ability to generate their income decrease. And the main country that is now suffering because of Houthis attacking different ships is Egypt. So they have managed to, in an effort to defend Muslims, they have managed to do almost nothing to Israelis and bring more suffering to Muslims around the world, including their own citizens, and mostly Muslims in Egypt as well. So, and they're continuing to do so. And also, their flag is a very anti-Semitic. I'm not going to say what they say on the flag here on the show, because we already been saying many naughty words here. Go just look it up. But it's very interesting that I don't understand why the very same people who have decided to be this openly anti-Semitic on their own flag are doing the Yahtzee salute as well. Like, what the hell is this? Why are they doing the Yahtzee salute? I never understood that. Like, this has nothing to do. There's nothing in Islam that tells you that this is a way that you do the salute. Like, do you know about this? I don't even know about this. Why is this a way? This is not Islamic. Why do the Houthis decide to do this type of salute?
Because it's the Yahtzee salute.
Is it actually because of that? I don't think so.
That's my understanding. So let's wait. There's something else I wanted to discuss. So one thing that just is like kind of silly to me is that this is because of what they've been doing in the Red Sea. It's disrupted 1/5 of global trade. But the kind of what's so funny to me is that Israel only has a single port on the Red Sea. Israel has one single port on the Red Sea. Most of their maritime activity is going to be happening on the complete other side of the country. So although activity in their one port did drop by 85%, I think as a whole, it's not going to be that much of it's like a hard hit for Israel specifically. And it's just going to fuck up everyone else and unite the world in helping you discover what FAFO stands for. Oh, I mean, I can say it because we're already demonetized. Just fuck around and find out.
Oh my.
What?
Oh my God, you're right. They do the Nazi salute because it's the Nazi salute. What the hell? They are. I thought like it's just like a coincidence that it looks the same, but no, they're doing it because it's the Nazi salute. Holy crap! Okay.
I don't know why this is surprising.
I mean, you know why it's surprising? It's not surprising to. Okay, let me actually tell you why it's surprising. It's not surprising to me because I think they're not vile enough to be able to do something like this. It's surprising to me because it's Western, right? Because Houthis are very Islamic. So why are you adopting a Western, tradition?
Yeah, Dee is bringing up a good point. She's saying, and idiots in the U.S. are chanting for them. So let's not forget that there are progressive Americans, again, quote unquote, progressive Americans across the country who are in the street yelling, Yemen, Yemen, make us proud, turn another ship around. Again, completely, seemingly unaware of the fact that Israel is mostly on the coast of the Mediterranean. We're just gonna forget that fact. We're just going to forget that. And we're going to be focused on the Red Sea. Completely wrong side. Completely wrong side. They only got one port down there at the very, very tip. And they're like, Yemen, and we have people like Hassan Piker, like openly sympathizing, simping, and supporting the Houthis. So this incident with the Houthis, and they're attacking random ships in the Red Sea, like literally just random ships in the Red Sea, has turned these like wannabe revolutionaries in the United States that used to at least like pretend. They used to like pretend a little bit. They've like just this made them just straight up mainstream terrorist supporting. They just took it and mainlined it straight into their veins. They're like, oh no, we're just gonna straight up be terrorist supporters now. And what I have seen Yemeni activists talk about that are actually progressive, actually liberal, is saying, I don't see any of you guys talking about these men that were just sentenced to death for being gay. Literally, do any of them care? Because so activists like Luay Ahmed, who I actually recently did a podcast with Zara K. I don't think that's been released yet. But he's from Yemen. He's a gay Yemeni. And when all these progressives started going out and supporting the Houthis, he was railing against them. He's been railing against this movement for a long time, since the beginning, just being like, you guys didn't say, you don't care about like my people at all. Like, you are so selective towards this cause. It is so obvious that you are selective towards this cause, because if you cared more about the livelihood of Muslims around the world in general, you would care about Yemen. But you see not even a fifth of the interest, the action, the activism, the energy in the streets as you do for Yemen. I don't even know what percentage. It's a minuscule percentage. It's a minuscule fraction. And so he's been calling out their hypocrisy really hard. And then when it came to this news coming out recently, he was like, where are you guys now? Where are you guys now? You don't care. Your values are hollow. And it is so obvious. It is so obviously hollow. Because you have nothing to say about what happened to these 13 men and the 35 that received prison sentences. Literally nothing. You won't even see it exit their mouths as something that even occurred. And these are supposed to be like the queers for Palestine. Where are the queers for Yemen? Like, give me a break. So I can't take any of these people seriously. It's like beyond the pale. It's freaking beyond the pale.
By the way, D included this video of the same people actually supporting Yemen. Should I play this?
Yeah. Also, thank you, D, our lovely volunteer editor. She's the best.
Yes. So they're saying, Yemen, Yemen, make us proud, turn another ship around. Unbelievable. This is crazy. Wow. Where is this? This is Columbia University.
Yeah, Columbia.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Holy crap. What is happening in the US?
Here's the thing. Why that is so stupid is because, one, those are a bunch of people, like young people that are already LARPing. Like half of these like honestly, I think most of these like young pro-Palestinian protesters are just straight up LARPing. I think this is like their way to like do some revolutionary LARPing, because they have their own like frustrations with our world. They have our own frustrations with capitalism, and they have somehow managed to fold like all leftist issues have now just folded into Palestine for some very bizarre reason. And so this is their way to LARP as a revolutionary, because they're not actually going to do dick to overthrow any government in the United States. They don't have the balls. They have too much to lose. They don't actually want to lose their lives. They don't actually want to be put in danger the way that other people around the world are. So they're living vicariously, right? They're living vicariously. So not only are they already LARPing, but they're LARPing for a group of terrorists who are LARPing themselves, because the actions of the Houthis are such a LARPing freaking ineffective way to actually support Palestine. It is a LARPing, pathetic way to actually try to do anything against Israel. It's absurd. We're going to attack random fucking ships on a Red Sea where Israel only has one freaking port. It's not even where they do most of their maritime activity. Instead, we're just going to shoot at random fucking ships, say this is against Israel somehow, and basically we're just going to fire at random people. And then when we later find out that one of these ships or one of these countries or maybe some containers on this ship somehow was owned by a Jew, then we're going to say that that's against Israel and that we're being so, like death to the Zionists. We're so anti-Zionist. It's like the LARPing squared is freaking embarrassing. It's freaking embarrassing. And congratulations to the Houthis. You wanted to fuck around, you found out, because the world unanimously united to be like, no, we need to shut this shit down because you're disrupting a fifth of the world trade. To the point that now other countries are like, hey, United States, why didn't you intervene faster? Hey, Mr. Daddy World Policeman, can you please step in faster to go help these guys find out? The positive correlation of fuck around and find out.
Positive correlation. Positive correlation.
And what did the US did? Okay, they went in and in the span of hours, I think, decimated a quarter of their entire ballistic capabilities. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, Armin, you're more knowledgeable or following this more closely than me. And my understanding is that I have, again, you're more knowledgeable than me. I have not heard about any civilian casualties coming from those strikes so far. I could be wrong.
No, that's correct. Wait, no, they're correct. By the way, United States, when they attack Yemen, why are people not impressed with the United States? Because they attack Yemeni offensive forces without killing any civilians. Like, people were like, a lot of leftists are like, ooh, United States attacking Yemen. We can't wait for some civilians to die. So we're like, oh no, how did like US bad. But when United States managed to take out some Yemeni, within a very short amount of, it was such a beautiful strikes. Within such a short amount of time, they reduced a country's fighting capability by 25%. That is huge. But nobody told, and no civilian casualties. It was very clean and it was very effective. So we're always waiting for the United States to do something wrong. To like, oh yeah, like either the leftists will say United States is purely evil, and here's an example. And even liberals are like, yeah, we support like what the United States does, but here they made a mistake. But I feel like we're so unfair because when the United States does something so effectively, nobody mentions that. Even people who are like, not that many people mention that. Not even liberals come on like, okay, can we take a time to congratulate the capability of the U.S. military for it to be able to do such a clean attack in defense of international trade without having any civilian casualties? That is very hard to do. That was very precise and clean. So just wanted to mention that.
It's simply because these people have no personality outside of America bad. They need an identity because they don't have a felt sense of self. And here's the thing, as much as I love to complain about these leftists, because, I mean, let's be honest, it is amusing. At the same time, I have become at the point where I do not actually feel genuinely threatened by them and their movement in any way, shape, or form. Their ideas are terrible. Their movements are largely ineffective in today's day and age. They openly talk about on Twitter how they want to buy guns because they want to live their revolutionary fantasies, but they don't buy guns because they would turn them on themselves. So excuse me if I'm not feeling very threatened by your community, by your political movement. Not to mention the fact that there was recently this series of tweets that went viral on Twitter where there was a leftist saying how if you want to be a real leftist, you should be exercising like 4 days a week. You should keep your body in like peak shape. You should have discipline. You should like try to learn different forms of martial art, blah, blah, blah. And this person was railed on and dragged through the mud for being a body fascist, for telling people to try to achieve peak physical fitness for the sake of the cause. So excuse me if I'm not feeling threatened, because all you have to do is complain about how you're not going to buy guns because you're going to shoot yourself, or because you don't want to work out because having a disciplined workout schedule is body fascist and ableist against the disabled leftists. Excuse me if I'm not too worried about you guys. Like, and especially because I used to be deeply embedded within these movements, they are so prone to completely destroying themselves. And it's so funny now to me because I'm in different spaces and I like to go observe different groups. When I compare being in the anarchist and leftist and militant groups that I used to be in with other groups I'm in now, I am shocked by how obvious the open signs of mental illness are within these leftist spaces and actively protected instead of like worked on. And then we complain like, oh my gosh, why do these movements always eat themselves? Oh, like. And obviously this doesn't apply to everyone. But I'm just commenting on some trends that I see very widely. And here's the thing. Other people know that it's true. And they know within themselves that it's true. So they're going to cause a ruckus. They're going to continue to be annoying. They're going to continue to spread some bad ideas because some of them are very attractive to people who have had different issues in life, or maybe they're attractive to young people that love how exciting and thrilling it is. But ultimately, there's just way too much money to be made in this world. And that's not the way to do it. Because when I was a militant leftist, one time my dad told me, Susanna, your beliefs and ideologies, he said, are a race to the bottom. I was like, damn. A few years later, I was like, God damn it, my dad was right. Okay, so enough of my ranting. Let us go through the live chats. Thank you everyone for giving us live chats and supporting the show, because we were demonetized before we could even get naughty. Before we could even be naughty girls and boys, we were already demonetized. They were like, nah, we know y'all some trouble monkeys. We're shutting you down now. So the super chats really helped the show. Oh, one thing Armin, when you were talking to the Christian guy who doesn't want to be a Satan's minions, Jace, I think that was your name. If you're interested in still supporting the show without the unholy name of Satan being attributed to you, you can support the show. There's a link in the description to our PayPal, and you can become a monthly donor on PayPal. And that's actually a really amazing way to help support the show, because we need a certain amount of monthly donors to make sure that even if YouTube takes everything from us, that we can still keep the show going. So if you are interested, or anyone else is interested, check out the link to the PayPal in the description.
But should we consider renaming our membership tiers? Or do you guys prefer it to be satanic?
I think I mean, I'm biased because it's been this way forever, but I like the Satan stuff. I think it's silly. Anyways, let's go through the super chats. Unicorn. Oh, hi, Unicorn. How are you doing today? It's good to see you. Sending well wishes and health to both of you. Thank you, Unicorn. That's very sweet.
Thank you.
GJ gave a super chat saying, Susanna, the Netherlands has pee and even shaving lovemaking law. What the hell did you just tell me? What does that mean?
Where? Where
What does
where
that
does
in
it
the
happen?
Netherlands? What does that mean? I need. Is it a law that you have to be like bare down there before you can make love? Is that what that means? What does that mean? Jace gave a super chat. Thank you, Jace, saying, I know you guys aren't Satanists. It's just cringe for Christians. Obviously, you don't need to listen to me, but it'd be more, your streams would be more welcoming. Oh, well, like I said, we have alternative ways to support if you are interested. And thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
GJ gave another super chat saying, Susanna, similar to the Make American Great Again GOP's Republicans blocking current tough U.S. immigration bill, only to be able to campaign that the U.S. needs tougher immigration law. I'm not exactly sure what similarity you're drawing. Like similarity to what? Then we got another super chat by GJ. Thank you, saying Islamists love the highly aligned Yahtzees since World War II. Yep. You're not going to find a disagreement from me there. Mindspan Wellness. Oh, thank you. I don't think we've gotten a super chat from you before. Gave us $10. Very generous. Thank you. Saying Grand Jerusalem Mufti leader Hajj Amin al-Husseini met with Adolf. I will say, actually, we're already demonetized. I can say it.
Yeah,
Met with Hitler in 1994 and promoted anti-Semitism, Mein Kampf, Elders of Zion, in the Middle East. They are widely read in the Middle East. Yep. Oh, GJ saying help. What is LARPing? I apologize. So LARPing is an acronym that stands for live action role playing. So it comes from like the kind of groups of people where they like go dress up as knights and fairies and druids and sorcerers or whatever, and they like go have battles in the woods. Like freaking nerds. Or like people who do like Civil War reenactments. I think is kind of like a form of LARPing. So basically it's an adult make-believe. It's adults go and dressed in costumes and have a little fantasy escape for an afternoon or two. Just Google LARP.
But the problem, like if you know it's fantasy, it's fine. I think it's fun. It's a problem when people pretend like it's not.
Yeah, it's just a little. I mean, it's a little unattractive. I'll just say that it's unattractive to me. I'm gonna be fully honest. If my partner was like randomly like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get into LARPing, I'd be like, are you sure? Okay. But that's just me. That's fine.
He might be watching, so be careful.
Winning Osprey, thank you for the super chat saying YouTube is still making us watch ads. If YouTube is still making you watch ads, but it's demonetized.
Because they need their share. We'll get their share. Yeah, that's true.
Kenny gave us a super chat. No comment. Thank you, Kenny. And GJ saying, University of Columbia, contrary to the 2020 Gammon study on Iran's religion, the Gulf/2000 project under the University of Columbus still found 98.6% in Iran. But when was this conducted? Was it conducted in 2000? How was it conducted? The methodology might have been completely different and not as good for all I know.
Yeah.
I need more information. What are the limitations of this study? Let me go look in the discussion section of this paper. Mindspan Wellness, thank you for another super chat saying Satan is a model to challenge unjust authority. Exactly. It's more of a meme. It's more about memetics than in analogy than actually believing in Satan. For those who are not aware.
There's this comment you start. You start that one.
Oh no, that's silly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Never mind. Okay. I am ready for the next news.
Can we clap? No.
No, this is no good.
Okay. Well then, next news.
Next news: Islamic Republic amputates 4 fingers of accused Iranian thief. In a shocking act of punitive justice, the Islamic Republic of Iran has carried out the amputation of 4 fingers from a prisoner accused of stealing sheep, a punishment that underscores the severe and controversial nature of Iran's judicial practices. The prisoner, identified as Yusuf T, was accused of taking 5 sheep from a farm owned by a member of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, a charge he denied throughout his 13-month detention. The execution of the sentence, described by Mahmoud Amiri Moghadam of Iran Human Rights Organization as showing, quote, the utmost cruelty and immorality of the system, has drawn international condemnation. This act, highlighted against the backdrop of allegations of widespread corruption within the regime, starkly illustrates the harshness of the judicial measures enforced in Iran, sparking outrage and calling for accountability from the highest levels of the Iranian judiciary and government officials involved in such practices. So this is exactly... well, not a surprise for people who follow this channel. We talk about when people are sentenced to these punishments before. We've talked about when these punishments are carried out today. There is one Iranian human rights organization that has tracked at least, I believe it was 356 amputations from the founding of the Islamic Republic in Iran. And that's only the ones that they know about. They believe that the number of actual amputations carried out in Iran since 1979 is much higher. And this man had 4 of his fingers amputated. And these are supposedly supposed to happen in a quote unquote medical setting. There's been instances where men have almost died afterwards because of the infections that have happened because of these amputations. And one of the most ridiculous parts of this that I have ever heard of is at least for other amputations that have happened, I don't know if this happens for all of them, but there have been instances where they say to the men, oh, hey, if you pay us money, if you pay us a giant fine, we will actually keep your fingers and then reattach your fingers after we amputate them if you can pay for it. Because basically they still need to execute the sentence, but if you pay us a giant sum of money, we'll actually reattach your fingers so you can go on with your life. But oh, I'm sorry, this man was accused of petty theft, and that's why he's getting his fingers chopped off in the first place. It's absolutely medieval. Armin, please give me your reaction. And have you been hearing anything about this recent sentence in the Persian sphere?
No, I'm hearing it from you. One. So 3 points. One, only poor people get their fingers chopped off. Iran is filled with corruption. And I'm talking corruption on levels that you can't even imagine. We're talking huge sums of money being stolen by very, very rich people
to the tune of billions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, when we're saying billions here, for example, billions of dollars here, like for example in tea corruption, lawmakers, like this is the tea scandal. I don't know if you saw this, the 2023 Iranian tea smuggling scandal, right? So the Debsh tea company set a new financial record for a corruption case in Iran by diverting over $3.3 billion. This is US dollars, okay? From the government subsidized foreign currency for importing tea and equipment for a tea sector. So this is like really rich people stealing a crap ton of money, and none of them get punished. You know, they don't get punished at all. But if you're poor, if you steal sheep, like imagine stealing sheep. These are poor people. These are the kind of people who the government and the society has failed them. These are people who are just trying to survive, right? These are not like evil people that are stealing billions of dollars from people, from society, right? These are just people like, I need to feed my freaking kids. And you get your fingers chopped off. So they only come after the weak and the poor. They don't go, when it comes to implementing these laws, they don't go after rich people. And also imagine like you making the problem worse. Like the people who are stealing are people who need help and support because they're not part of society. They have been left behind. Okay. And usually in advanced countries, when somebody is stealing like this, because the society has failed them, they find a way to, they first of all, they punish them as a deterring factor, but they also find a way to bring them into society to try to involve them in economic activity so that they don't have to steal the next time. While they're in prison, they give them the skills and the tools to become economically active so that they could provide for themselves and their family without having to steal. But even if you can't do that, even if you're not an advanced country that is not capable of doing that, why would you take away their means of production and work? Like if you cut their hands, like this is a person that could not provide, and now they can never provide because you cut their fingers, their tools that's how they could have made income. That's how they could have, like, they weren't producing before, they weren't bringing money for their family, and now they can never do that because they don't have any fingers anymore. Like, at least if it can't be like as progressive as some advanced countries, why are you making it? Why are you going the other way around?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's just so backwards. It's so obviously backwards.
Yeah, it's medieval. It's absolutely medieval. This is literally a medieval form of torture and punishment. And this is why I try to communicate with people that the Islamic Republic of Iran is a abnormal state. They are an abnormal state. And this is who we're dealing with when we naively try to negotiate with these fucking psychos. And Suresh is bringing up a good point, saying Iran's army abuses Kurds like nothing. Exactly. A lot of these punishments, I don't know about the corporal punishments in general, but executions in particular disproportionately affect Kurds and Baluchis. Like, it's horrendous how disproportionate it is. And these are regions that are oftentimes deliberately left in like a state of like.
But it's not because they're it's not because they're Kurd or Baluch. It's because they're poor. The Islamic regime of Iran, they just go after the weak. Whoever has a voice, it's harder for them to go after. It's because of poverty. It's not because of ethnicity.
Yeah, but if the state has continuously over a series of decades failed to or purposefully neglected entire areas that contain different minorities, and then those people then go do certain crimes because they are in a state of neglect and poverty, is it really that much of a reach to be like, I'm seeing a pattern here?
Yeah, I mean, the government has always favors centralized, richer places than, other areas that are border, closer to the borders. But that's a different topic. Yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, but Dee actually provided a great video in the
this one.
Yes, you are going to have to read aloud some of the translations if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Should we just watch the video like this?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we have to watch the whole thing, but at least the beginning because it's really powerful. Thank you, Dee, for providing this.
Oh, okay, so let's see. So this is the text exchange. It says, breaking, hand amputation sentence carried out in Iran. And somebody says, lies in response. And then the response is, they don't really give out hand amputation sentences. Don't fall for people spreading rumors. Don't be silly. Most of the time, they don't carry these things out. Absurd. Nonsense. Come on now. There's no such sentence in Iran. Okay, here. So he's saying they took us out of solitary confinement, handcuffed. From there, they took us to the prison yard where they had gathered all the prisoners so they could watch. I was looking from under the blindfold, and I saw a bloody machine. Wow. Nothing. There was no sanitation. It was a steel cutter. The warden, as if they were slaughtering an animal, said, "It's nothing. It's just cutting off 4 fingers. What is that?" So this guy's name is Mohsen Sabzichi from Iraq. He was charged with theft, and his sentence was hand amputation. This was in 2011. And it says, and then they pushed the knob. Okay, they put my hand under the machine and they pushed the knob. As I was watching, my fingers fell to the floor and they were moving. Anyway, they cut my fingers off, bandaged my hand, and put me in the ambulance. And said, "All right, what kind of a punishment is this? Come on, man. It's not the first time for thieves like this. They've got to have a few dozen under their belt." What? There were many prisoners who didn't get hand amputations, though they dropped hundreds of times. For me, I got an amputation sentence my first time. Oh, so the question was like, these people must be serial thieves. Like they must have been stealing a lot. Only after stealing a lot of money, that's many times. That's the only time when they get hand amputation. So this guy is saying like, no, the very first time I stole something, they cut my fingers. This is why I'm upset and complaining. Why have they sentenced me to hand amputation even though it was my first time? If someone changes his ways after this, how's he supposed to make a living? Oh yeah, so like if somebody decides like, yeah, okay, it was not a good thing that I stole, but now they can't even make a living anymore because they don't have fingers. Have they thought of this through? Or like, have they thought this through? And now he's saying, I can't even eat correctly. Even eating is difficult. I can't hold utensils. I can't do anything. My life is very hard. It's hell. I can't button my own shirt. I can't tie my own shoes. Somebody has to help me with it. Oh. So this guy is saying, as a lawyer, I can tell you Iran's Islamic criminal code really does include this punishment, and it is indeed carried out more or less. It says it happens a lot. There are 11 people in the prison right now who have been sentenced to hand amputation. The sentence has not been carried out yet, but they're carried out for 3 of us. one guy got it for his hand and foot. What? The other one is me, then Hussein. Oh, so there's now 11 other people who the judge has sentenced to hand amputation, but they're not yet carried out. It's not clear. It might get carried out tomorrow, in 2 or maybe 5 years. I know that Islam talks about hand amputation. Yeah, guys, this is actually in the Quran. It's not even hadith. It's in the Quran itself. But it doesn't necessarily have to be carried out. Is it reasonable, really? Instead of solving the problem, they're just what?
Papering it over. Like they're just like blowing past it, covering it up.
My life fell apart because of hand amputation. I turned to my parents' home. I don't usually go out of the house because of what people say. We live in a very small, enclosed environment. And everybody has something to say. So I hide my hand. I put it in my pocket. Or cover it with a bandage. All right, I made a mistake, but I shouldn't be humiliated this much. I never have I appreciated my fingers in my life as much as right now. You know how many things? Like, you know how fucked up our life would be if we just simply didn't have 4 fingers? Like, there's so many things that we do that we couldn't do if we just didn't have 4 fingers. Such a major punishment for just a small crime. It's insane.
Yeah, so thank you, Dee, for finding that video, because I actually hadn't seen a video from a victim of this before. And I think that's really powerful. So you can like see the consequence and what it actually means in someone's life. Because I've seen Islamic scholars, including American Islamic scholars, argue that these corporal punishments are more humane because they let someone just experience the punishment and then go back into life, instead of like a Western model where you go to jail and are outside of civilian life for years, and then you have the sentence of being a convict, and then that carries you for the rest of your life, and you're away from your children for years. And then you have like an ex-convict record, and how that, like, you know, it impacts you economically, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you think this is less humiliating? Like, it's absurd. We got a bunch of super chats, so thank you, everyone. Charles gave 50 Danish kroner. This thank you, saying, "Hey Susie, some of us Danes actually like to dress up as Vikings and have mass fencing matches, Viking markets, and whatnot."
Yeah.
Google Vikingatraf. I don't know how to pronounce anything in Danish. Okay, you know, to be fair, that actually does sound fun. That sounds more fun. To me, that's a little bit. It's a little bit less cringe because you're not like pretending to be like straight up fantasy. For example, like the idea of going to like Scottish Highland games where they like do full traditional Scottish outfits and they do the traditional games where you like throw entire tree trunks. I'm like, hell yeah, that looks like a lot of fun.
What about a Renaissance fair? You're against that?
I'm not against it. Like, I'm not like going to prescribe anyone from doing it.
So judgmental. You're so judgmental.
Do I think it's a little? Yeah, I still judge the Renaissance fair a little bit. I'm gonna be fully honest. But that's me personally. And that's okay. It's okay. You can go live your life, do your thing. Abhishek gave us 40 rupees of a super sticker. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Lebronzo gave us 6 euros. Thank you. Not saying it's comparable to Iran, but in what light would you compare the U.S. prison industrial complex? I mean, of course it's not comparable to Iran. What the hell? There's a lot of problems.
Yes. In
There's
what
a lot
life
of
would you
brutality.
compare to you? I think it's much more inferior to what the model that we have in Scandinavian countries, right? So I like how
Yeah, but the Scandinavian countries are having to change their models right now because they cannot deal with the amount of crime that they're experiencing. Like how people praise Sweden so much. Sweden is having to overhaul its criminal justice system because they cannot deal with the level of criminality they're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this lovely, perfect little utopian model that you used to love because violence and extreme criminality used to be so rare in Sweden now has to be radically overhauled. It's disappearing. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but that's a conversation people aren't ready for yet.
So here's the thing. I don't know. I just know that the Islamic model is horrible. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge to be able to judge other countries' models.
Yeah, I don't like I think the privatization of the US prison industrial complex is a giant part of the problem. There's some areas of industry where I really love privatization. I don't think criminal justice and rehabilitation is an appropriate one. Okay, we got a super chat from GJ saying Westerners visiting central squares in biggest Saudi cities notice thin paving gutters into sewage systems thinking rain, but it's chopped blood runoffs. I think this is a little bit of a overgeneralization. Do you think every gutter in the Saudi major cities is like for blood? I don't know. And just as a side note, there's this person that has been freaking out in the live chat about me. Hashtag Susanna lies, AR dies. Like they are having a full-blown panic, looking in the mirror conversation with themselves about me. And it's been so funny to watch. Like this person is, like it's without lies, Islam dies. Susanna lies for AR today. Like the entire stream, this man has been like ripping out his own hair. Insanity. So funny. I'm like, I haven't even acknowledged you once. And I think he's pissed because a while ago I was making jokes about how the people that freak out about love jihad are like oftentimes the subtext of what they're saying is like, because I was making a joke about, and a lot of people didn't understand, was when there are Hindu nationalists that are constantly freaking out about this like insane, intense sexual magnetism of Muslim men and their charm and their like sensuality, like how, and there was one Hindu nationalist woman who literally said like we should stop calling it love jihad, it's sex jihad, blah blah blah. I'm like, are you not shitting on the romantic power, sexual magnetism of Hindu men? Like that's the subtext, is that like Muslim men are so much more attractive and charismatic. Like, and so I was just making a joke that they're actually shitting on themselves when they're so obsessed with the charisma of Muslim men. that idea is like that juxtaposition is just really funny to me. Oh my god. Like they're stealing all our women because they're just so sensual. Like, anyways, we have a few more super chats. Erican gave another super chat saying private prisons are actually the minority of prisons in America. But the problem is that it can easily create an incentive to imprison more people. That's part of the issue. And GJ gave a super chat saying, consider the enormous cost of imprisoning people versus just cutting a finger off, a major factor in a country like Iran suffering financial UN sanctions.
Actually, the cost of cutting someone's finger off is more because now they're not a productive member of society, and now they're not going to be able to earn, and they're not going to pay taxes. The earning money that they would. So I think the costing, the cost.
Also, the idea of blaming this on sanctions is insane to me. They would be doing this without the sanctions.
Yeah.
Iran would be impoverished. They would be impoverished even without the sanctions because of the sheer amount of corruption and how inefficient their economy is because of their weird, like semi-socialist policies, and then also how much monopoly the IRGC has over the entire economy. Like, there's so much other stuff to make the economy crap. I mean, Armin, do you think I'm off base saying that?
No, I think the economy would suffer without sanctions. It would suffer less, but it would suffer still a lot because they just believe in this isolationist resisting and also command economics that has obviously failed everywhere else in the world. And also the degree of involvement of IRGC in the economics just makes it doomed to fail. And also plus oil and gas, their reliance on oil and gas is just destroy the chances for other industries to thrive. But that's another topic I could literally talk about this to you for hours. But the next news is actually very interesting. So I do want to get into this one because it's about Valentine's Day in India and Hindu nationalists. So can we clap for it?
Yes. This is just one of my favorite times of year.
Every year this time. All right, sounds good. Next news.
Why do Hindu nationalists hate Valentine's Day so much? By the way, guys, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you had a lovely moment with your significant other, should you have one. And if not, I don't know, maybe enjoy some cheap chocolates. So this is kind of one of my favorite times of year because I just find the absurdity of Hindu nationalism to be so entertaining. And I thought this would balance out our show a little bit because I did come out supporting the UCC, and that can be very controversial. People are like, that's part of a Hindu nationalist agenda. But let us not forget how psycho some of these people are. Okay, so in India, the celebration of Valentine's Day has sparked controversy among Hindu nationalists who argue that the holiday is a Western imposition incompatible with traditional Indian values. Leading a charge against the February 14th festivities is the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal, influential Hindutva or Hindu nationalist organizations, which have called on Indians to reject Valentine's Day in favor of honoring the member of Indian security personnel who were killed on the 14th of February in 2019 in an attack in Pulwama, which was a devastating suicide bombing that targeted a convoy of Indian soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir, resulting in the loss of 40 personnel. So they're saying instead of Valentine's Day, why don't we memorialize the victims of this attack? Pagu Dakula Balaswamy, a campaign leader for VHP in Hyderabad, emphasized the movement's stance by declaring, quote, corporate forces are promoting foreign culture in the name of love. Why celebrate Valentine's Day? We can look at the love of Sita Ram and Satyabhama Shri Krishna. They are our culture. This sentiment reflects a broader critique among Hindu nationalists who view the holiday as antithetical to Indian cultural heritage and advocate for its replacement with celebrations more aligned with Hindu deities and values, such as promoting Kamadev Day, who is a local god of love and desire who wields a flower-arrowed bow as an alternative. So, here's a couple things I find just like very well. Part of this is actually not amusing, but I like to highlight this every year because it's freaking insane. So the Bajrang Dal is I think they actually were considered a terrorist group in India at one point. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're like a paramilitary group. They're a gang of street thugs across the country who go around and do moral policing, vigilantism on random people, and have been known to attack random men and women that they see together on Valentine's Day. Sometimes they're not even a couple, but they assume to be couples, attack random couples in the street. Sometimes they chop off their hair as a form of public humiliation, assault them, cover their faces in black soot, like blacken their faces as a form of humiliation. They've been known to drag people out of like restaurants, drag them into the street, force them to get married on that day. Just random male and female couples they just see together on Valentine's Day. So basically a form of just like street terrorism to just force people so they're just using violence straight up in violent moral policing vigilantism to just try to get people to not celebrate Valentine's Day. Because again, they see it as like Western imposition of this is not our culture, this is not our values, blah, 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 blah. On the other side, there are like leftists who don't like Valentine's Day in India because they see it as a form of neocolonialism, they see it as a form of consumerism, and they see it as a form of classism. Because apparently Valentine's Day didn't become a big deal in India until the 1990s, where there was more economic liberalization, which led to the growth of an Indian middle class, which had access to foreign media, which brought the ideas of Valentine's Day into the culture. And then it became like kind of a thing that they wanted to celebrate because they would see this in media. And then they also had more access at the time to individualized relationships, love marriages, whatever. And then it became something that they wanted to celebrate. And then they see this as a form of like bourgeois, like classism, blah, blah, blah. My stance is if people want to celebrate this, let them celebrate this. Okay, obviously. You can have your whiny fucking opinion no matter what. Stop beating people up in the street. How about that? It's so common that I have Indian friends that literally, female friends that literally tell me that on the 14th of February, they choose to not leave the house. I personally know people that say that as a woman that they do not leave the house on the 14th because they're afraid of having issues with these freaking street thugs. It's so common that you can easily access and look up articles all about how to avoid Bajrang Dal on February 14th.
Wow.
You can even ask ChatGPT, how do I avoid Bajrang Dal on February 14th? And it'll provide you with a wealth of information. That's how much of a consistent issue this is.
Wow.
And
so what happens if you leave the house? Like if you're like even if you're not celebrating Valentine's Day, if you leave the house as a girl on Valentine's Day, what could happen to you?
They're the people that I know, they're just afraid of being harassed. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm more likely to be like harassed on this day, and I don't want to experience that. So it's easier for me to just remove myself.
So the Hindu nationalists, they're saying that on this day, maybe instead of like celebrating Valentine's Day, maybe we could like celebrate some of their gods love with each other. Is that what they said?
Yeah. So last year we covered a story where.
No, I just want to respond. I just want to hear a quick yes or no. Is that what some of they're suggesting?
Some of them, yes. And I actually think that could be a cool idea.
Wouldn't that just be celebrating Valentine's Day for the Hindu gods? Like, wouldn't that like just saying kind of happy Valentine's Day to your Hindu gods? If you do that, like because you're doing it on Valentine's Day.
Why not? Okay. For example, Wait, let me pull it up. Actually,
I have another question. No. Let me also make some points. Would do you think these people would be upset if Westerners were celebrating Hindu traditions and culture? Maybe
unless they were some people that have a stick up their ass about cultural appropriation, no. Most of these Hindu people like love when like there are like white girls that are what's the name of them? Hare Krishnas, like that kind of thing.
We should try it. Maybe we should come on our stream wearing we should try every tradition and see how people react, like on the stream. Like maybe one day I could come up with the turban and the mullah costume, and you could wear the hijab and see what the reaction would be. And then another day we could come up with that. I could do a Hindu like saffron color, a Hindu outfit, and you could do like a sari, and then we will see what the reaction would be to that. And then another day I could come out as a samurai and see what the reaction would be to that. I don't know.
What do you samurai? Think? That's kind of random.
No, because Japanese people don't give they don't get upset when you use their costumes. Like they're famous for not getting celebrating that. Like if you use Hindu gods and stuff in a Hollywood setting and stuff, they would get pissed off. Like, I dare you, that's our culture, right? But if you do that with Japanese traditions and culture, they're like, oh yeah, great, let's enjoy our culture, have at it, thank you.
Oh, and my favorite thing is Japan is famous for literally not giving an F about what someone's cultural sensitivity are, mean it in anime. They're like, oh no, your god's in anime, and in fact they make it really cool. They make it so exciting and interesting.
I think it's a sign of you tell me if I'm wrong. I think it's inferiority complex. I think these people feel inferior to the rest of the world, and that's how they are demonstrating it. Do you think that's what I'm right?
We'll explain what you mean more.
I think they think they constantly try to show how valuable, how great their culture is, because they don't feel that, and they want to say they feel inferior, so they try to portray superiority and value of their culture because they feel like they're left behind and they're inferior to other people, so they constantly have to fight for it and demonstrate it. But if you actually feel comfortable with your culture and your value, then you don't care. For example, Japanese, they don't care because they know that their culture is great. They know that the world wants it, so they don't care when people play around with it and use it, because they are confident when it comes to the superiority of their culture. The same thing with Korea, for example, or same thing with the United States. It's only when you feel inferior that you keep getting angry over everything like this, and you want to keep displaying oh, we're good. Like, please understand how superior we are to you, because you don't actually feel that way. You feel inferior, so you're constantly trying to prove to other people how superior you are.
Maybe not full-blown inferior, but an insecurity. I would say an insecurity.
That's the same thing.
Well, part of what, and to be fair, what a lot of that is reasonable in reaction to is the formation of a post-colonial identity.
Oh, wait.
And the experience of being a colonized force.
Oh, D is a genius. That's what you should be doing. You want to read? You should say, B. You want to read these comments? I highlighted
She's saying they could just say they created Valentine's Day 2,000 years ago. Oh,
yeah. Just say it was in the Vedas. Just say that the Westerners stole it from you. Why don't you just do that? Just say that the Western powers stole it for you. It was in the Vedas. That is genius. Fantastic. I love it.
No, one thing that's...
Oh my God.
No, but actually, it would be very easy to enjoy this because there's a whole story about how Saint Valentine was a Christian missionary and all this stuff, and he was helping couples get married, even though the Romans at the time wouldn't allow it, and then they would persecute Christians, blah 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 blah. But there's a lot of people say that there's evidence to suggest that this date was chosen on the 14th as a way to Christianize an already pre-existing Roman pagan tradition. So there's that.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, I have something to say. If you have such an issue with people celebrating Valentine's Day, like Bajrang Dal is freaking horrible at marketing. Horrible at marketing. If they want people to celebrate something more Indian instead of this, like last year, I don't know if you remember this news, Armin, there was a push for Cow Hug Day. Instead of Valentine's Day, it became Cow Hug Day, and you're supposed to go hug a cow. And then there were these videos coming out of like VHP dudes trying to go hug a cow and getting like kicked by a cow.
Do cows like being hugged?
I don't know. I try not to mess with the cows because if you get one of those hooves in your shin, that's gonna hurt real bad. But so I don't know if anyone else here remembers Cow Hug Day. But here's the thing. Here's an example. So I read an article where someone was criticizing both the right-wing push against this and the left-wing push against this. And they were saying, instead of kind of these whiny freaking contentions, why don't we just celebrate as Comma Dev Day? And so I used ChatGPT to make a Comma Dev Valentine. And it fits so well. I'm like, see, this is good marketing. This is good marketing. Still have it be February 14th.
You made this?
Yeah. People like to have it be February 14th. But instead of just complaining or beating people up in the street or forcing people to get married and yada, 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 why don't you just still have it on the same day because that's when people are doing it instead of trying to make it be a different thing. But just integrate your own culture into it. Yeah, it's Kenny is saying that's beautiful. I love it. Actually, I sent this Valentine to Gasian American.
You're welcome, India. We keep making here at Atheist Republic. We keep upgrading your gods. Okay, like we are a bunch of foreigners that are improving Indian culture, and an Atheist Republic. Come to Atheist Republic to get your gods upgraded.
Yeah, and so like people. Pranav, he's right. He's saying Kama Sutra came from the name Kama Dev.
Oh, there we go.
So he's the god of like love and desire. He has a green parrot, and his bow is really cool. It's made out of sugar cane, and so he even has a bow and arrow like Cupid. Cupid, except it's made out of sugar cane and like 5 different flowers. It's lots of flowers. People love to give flowers on Valentine's Day. It has a lot of similarities to Cupid, which is already associated with Valentine's Day. I think this is like, if you push this could be marketed and sold well. I would be super into this. So I spent the afternoon amusing myself with making Comma Dev Valentines.
Okay. I have a question. Did you specifically ask it to give arrows to the parrot, or did the AI just decided to do that?
The AI decided to do that.
Okay. Is there anything within the story that the parrot also has arrows, or did AI just like, hey, let's just go?
No, usually he's supposed to ride the parrot. He sits on the parrot and rides the parrot. It's his chariot.
Guys, I love AI. It's just so creative. Like, it's just like, I think people think AI can't be creative, but who would have thought to give some arrows to the parrot as well? Nobody would have thought about that. AI is very creative. Like, that's pretty cool.
It's so funny. Kenny, this is so funny. He's saying he also has a bow and arrows. Now it does sound like he's full of videos. So everyone, if you didn't enjoy Valentine's Day, maybe celebrate it as Comma Dev Day next year and you might enjoy it more. So happy Comma Dev Day to everyone in the Atheist Republic community. I think we could easily push this every year.
All right. So there's a Persian guy in the live chat who's asking us if we have after sale service support for our gods for upgrading gods. Yeah, you can come back to us anytime. You could come back to us. But this is beautiful. This is great. Guys, you could, like, seriously, India, you could hire us. You could hire Susanna if you need to, for some cultural, advice? What is? Do you have a name for your service that you offer? Any country? Can other countries come to you as well when it comes to
Sure.
when they want to? Yeah. Well,
I mean, I think this is such a great idea, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. India, like learn from Susanna. India. Okay, do this. Okay, we have super chats. We should get to them.
Yes. So let me remove this quickly. Oops, and bring this back. Okay. See, Shrijan, you had beef with me. You've been beefing with me. Apparently, it's you've been having a one-sided beef within yourself with me. But this is something we could agree on. He's saying Bajrang Dal is the scum of the earth. They should mind their own business and be put into jail if they are found to be involved in violence. Sir, I have my full agreement with you. Asian American is saying, my partner and I fuse Black History Month, Lunar New Year, and Valentine's Day, and we celebrate a second Chinese New Year, Chinese Valentine's on the 7th lunar month. That's very fascinating. By the way, Asian American's partner is freaking fine. They're a cute couple together. I'm going to be honest. I'm like, damn, Asian, you did a good job. GJ gave a super chat saying, I studied psychology at Leiden University, like Ion Hersey Ali, in the 90s. On the 3rd of October, some 1 lakh of Leeds populace beats on some of the 25,000 then university students each year. I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. Asian American, but thank you for the super chat. Asian American gave another super chat saying, depends on who you dress as. I've met several non-Asian people cosplaying as Danmei Taoist cultivators, but I've also seen racists do yellow face. Okay, if it's done with the intention to denigrate people, that's obviously lame and wrong and offensive. In my experience, though, it is mostly people in Western countries that take offense to people wearing a costume from a different country. In my experience, usually people from those countries love to see people that are not like them take an interest in their culture and love their culture and celebrate it. So, kind of seems like a little bit of a diaspora sensitivity, to be honest. Asian American also gave a super chat saying that image is inaccurate. His bow is sugarcane, the arrows are tulsi flowers, and the string is bees. I know, but you can only ask so much of ChatGPT, okay?
Yeah. Dolly is the uses.
Yeah. So GJ also gave a super chat saying, I'm still for atheist art prints, merch printed in Netherlands, like some of Galileo, Spinoza, and Descartes. I think therefore I am all had heresy printed in the Netherlands. And that's something I appreciate about the Netherlands is that they have a history of being very strong about their blasphemy. And I think that's a very foundational Dutch value, and I appreciate it. And it's kind of sad the way in which it's been damaged in the past 20 years. So yeah, that was our show for today. Armin, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No. Sorry about my voice. Wait, no, I'm not sorry.
I hope you feel better.
Make sure you like the stream. I can't yell today. I was gonna yell. Today you guys are okay. Today, you guys are lucky because I can't yell at you for not liking the stream. So I'm instead of yelling at you, I'm just gonna shame you. I'm just gonna because I can't yell, I'm just gonna like that's what I'm gonna do. For anybody who did not like this, I should get a bell. I should get a shame bell. Okay, shame. Okay, I will buy a shame bell at some point. And when people are not liking anybody, how many people are watching right now? Okay, so it's how many people like? Oh, okay, more people have liked than we have more than 200 likes. So good. I'm happy to.
Hey,
but
lovely.
Again, still shame on you. Still shame on you if you have not liked the stream. Please, guys, it doesn't cost you anything and it really helps our channel. So do that. And also, after the stream is over, leave a comment under the show. That also helps out a lot. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification. And make sure you go and tell people to come and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out.
Oh. We got a few more super chats, so let's go through those. Wait 1 second.
I'm gonna buy a bell. I'm gonna buy a shame bell.
Shame. Uzair Jabril gave a super chat saying, interested in your guys' take on KR Lunar New Year. What is KR Lunar New Year? Is it Korean? Do you think?
I don't like any lunar calendars. They move. Okay? Go solar. Solar or Gregorian? What is yours called?
Gregorian. The Gregorian calendar is not very good, though.
Okay, go solar. Like the Persian New Year. You know? The Persian New Year is like everything, all the months stay within this specific seasons. Why would you use the moon when you have the sun and keep every month within a certain season? Lunar calendars make no sense to me. Why would you do that? Well, like your month is like hot, like, and 10 years from now you're in the middle of the summer, you have a month, and then now 10 years from now you have the same month in the middle of winter. Why? Okay, I'm buying a bell online to shame you guys.
The Persian calendar is then solar New Year, right? Solar,
yes.
Year, yeah, okay. Because you have a very convincing argument.
And that's why
it makes more sense, and I actually agree.
That's why the Persian New Year, the Persian calendar is superior to the Islamic calendar, because the Islamic calendar is lunar. Maybe I am biased against lunar calendars because the Islamic calendar is lunar. Yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
Here, we're very conscious of our own biases. And GJ gave another super chat saying, having 25,000 university students more now versus just 10,000 Leiden residents, I guess, creates tension. And October 3rd is an annual Leiden festivity. Oh, I guess you mean like the conflicts of within a college town, I guess, essentially. Also, I just had ChatGPT create another Comma-Dev card. Can I show it off?
Yes.
It kind of doesn't. He doesn't look properly like Comma-Dev. I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of like we're just gonna take a sorted Hindu god and just give him a parrot.
Ooh.
This
beautiful. I like.
Don't you see the vision here?
Yeah. That's beautiful. India, take note.
I see the vision.
Yes.
Okay, anyways.
Yeah. Share the prompt with that to me. I
mean, it's very easy. I just say create a Valentine's Day card with Hindu god Comma-Dev.
Oh, really? That's all you do? Okay.
Yeah, and then I just tweak it to make it look more accurate-ish.
See the saying. Look at this. Oh, God. That's funny.
Cupid.
All right.
Cupid ain't a baby no more. Oh, Cupid, grown.
Okay, we should go. I think the cough syrup is making me drowsy, so I should go. Does it make you drowsy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happens when you're drinking it straight out the bottle. Do you guys see what I have to deal with?
All right, guys, we gotta go. Don't forget to like the stream. Imagine me yelling at you right now for not liking, and let that motivate you to like the stream. All right, guys. See you in the next stream. Bye. Mwah.